Now
Hello,
it is.
Brad.
Well, I'm over here, just turning some lights off and getting set to work.
Are you doing mood lighting for our discussion?
I just turned them off.
Oh, so you're
Since I'm
trying to
being,
make it
well, it's
dark and
naturally,
romantic? You're trying to
yeah.
create a romantic atmosphere? You give that look. I have got to write down all these Brad looks. Why
Let's
don't you?
categorize them.
Why don't you just squint your eyes a little bit and just
That's me taking hits, man. It's like, all right, it's punching bag, Brad,
so instead of 150%, we're running at 35, 36. It's under 40%.
with the recording on. That's good.
The recording on. So hopefully we won't have our crises. And I have a lot of stuff running at the moment. And so we should be in good shape. All right.
We're here for a work session.
We are. Today is, hold on, let me try something. Today is Saturday, April 6th, 2024. This is a work session, which means that if you don't know what that means, it means we uh, record these things largely for documentation purposes. But because I do go back and look at them because I'm like, what the heck did we say? Um, and for people but it turns out that people like to follow us and they like to watch these things, which is amazing to me. But I suppose if you're going to have white noise on, it might be white noise that educates you. Anyway, so that's what it is. Today we're continue work on the pamphlet. I want to have a refresh discussion, or there was because it's been a week since we talked, or 6 days, and then I want to talk about the book strategy again one more time.
Okay.
All right, and so I don't think it changes anything. I want to talk it through again because we talked about it briefly in the staff meeting, and like I can't. I need a Brad one-on-one for this. Uh, And so we're going to work on it. We're currently working on embodiment, which is basically the first section of the first chapter or first section. And this is basically how we sense and perceive the world. We produce. This is pretty fascinating subject, but we've got a good chunk of the way through it. There are still some there's still some challenges to how we're addressing the properties versus processes, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the second thing we're doing is that, as I mentioned a moment ago, that we feel under pressure,
That's right.
and that's because we're increasingly concerned or consistently confident or suspicious. I don't know what the right word is. That we're going to see some escalation around the election. And so we want to be prepared for that. There's two forms of preparation we need to do. One is we have to have something out there that we can draw attention to that solves the problem, and we need a plan of action. In other words, we need to explain how revolutions occur and how this one will occur and how to bring it about if these things tend to happen. Why do we say this? Because it's better to exert some sort of influence over a thing so that you produce a positive outcome than it is to leave it to random chance. And our hope is that by being the only people that actually provide some answers, that we will be able to do it. It may take some work for us to get all that out there. So we're feeling
Yes.
pressure to get done. I'm feeling capable of getting done. Um, but I want to explain how Brad and I have been approaching this project so far. Is that it's been quite a bit of work to put the science of the first principles together, right? I mean, we've done quite a bit of
Yeah.
work on this, um, and we've uh, mildly massaged the narrative so we figure we can build it one step at a time, and then it's understandable. It'll be understandable. So it takes quite a bit of work to do this. Um, But however, the purpose of this pamphlet is really as a quick reference guide for people who know it, who want to follow us, right?
That's right.
Right. That's one deliverable. The other deliverable is the Constitution and its reforms. which is, I don't know if it's 50% done or whatever. I mean, we know what has to go in it, but there's still some work to go into there. In the Constitution, the beginning of the Constitution lays out, just like any contract, the terms, like definitions. And this work we're doing here in the pamphlet really is what feeds those definitions. And those definitions are what are necessary to state in order to ensure that the logic of the law is consistent, coherent, and constructible. And so I want to plow through this as much as possible, but I also want to realize that when we, at some point, we might have to shift over to the Constitution in order to get that done in time.
Yes.
And so the Constitution is fine from man forward, but it doesn't have the sciences to man. And that leaves a big gaping hole in there.
Yes.
All right. So that's the part we have added. We've basically taken the structure of the logics and made it as a definition section of the Constitution. Now you would say that doesn't need to be there. And I'm like, oh, you are so wrong. The reason if you looked at what's caused the vacuum in our Constitution today, is because they didn't articulate the common law, the natural law and the common law and concurrency. Even though it's all applied throughout the system, it's not there. Even the fundamental rights, which we call the Bill of Rights, even those are insufficiently complete and insufficiently articulated so that they can be abused. When realistically, that Constitution is about as close to a work of behavioral science as was ever produced by man. All we're doing is taking it really the rest of the way, because we have learned quite a bit since then, specifically about the introduction of mass communication and the introduction of a new form of baiting into a hazard by a new religion we call the Marxist sequence, and the introduction of the Jewish and feminine disposition into the marketplace, into the information system, and into politics, and worse, into the academy and education. And so we have to make sure that this cult, which is how Christianity spread, this cult is illegal. And we're making sure that not only in this cult, but any cult to follow is illegal. And it's quite punitive. And then there's a section of our work which is called the restitutions and punishments, right? Which is basically written as a prosecution, right? As a documented prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
I ate bread, drink coffee, so I'm wondering if I said something sensitive.
No, it means I was thirsty for coffee.
Okay. So, and in that case, what we'll do is that's the threat, basically. That's basically the threat. And then there's the course and conduct of a civil war. A lot of that stuff, you can just, for me, I can just, right? Right. But this kind of stuff, this analytics, I can't. Because it's like we're doing math in ordinary language, right? Constructive logic, really, but I mean, it's better to think of it as math. And so I'm feeling pressure to get through this and to get it into the Constitution, to work on the Constitution. So that's why Brad and I are going to up our efforts here, and I'm going to try to up my efforts, hoping I don't have any more weird crises that
Oh my.
affect my time. I'm sure I'll have one.
Well,
all right. So
for that purpose, I'm offering the opportunity to work an additional afternoon in the week.
Yes,
to accelerate this process.
I'm very happy about it. Thank you. You're a good man, no matter what anybody else says about you.
Thank you.
Why do you put up with me? I have no idea. All right. So do you have any feedback on this pamphlet versus Constitution question? In other words,
My understanding is now you're linking them together.
well, I'm worried about priorities because we were going to publish the pamphlet first and then the Constitution.
The priority can shift, in my opinion. I don't care.
Okay.
But I see it as I feel in the time crunch as well. And it's like, okay, whatever you think is the best is the avenue that I think we should pursue.
All right. Okay. I'm always looking for agreement. All right.
Time for you to share the screen.
I'm trying.
I thought so, but I had to say it.
I only need to share one screen. Do I have the PowerPoint open? I don't.
Hmm.
Sorry, my sniffles. Zoom. Okay, where is it? Oh shit! Then I did it again. That's my fifth curse. Do I get a five? A five for that one?
I generally discount those.
Okay. I'm sorry to take one use list. I'm going to take a few minutes, a minute here to find the PowerPoint so I have it available if I need to
Right.
on it. That means it's somewhere in the Curt D documents, I think. Don't need that one. I need documents. Is it there? Where are you? There? Where's 9? I just want to look for it. 9. Uh-huh. 9. Oh, okay, well, I'll wait till later because the Sperber's notice I've got a new computer set up. And so, and I have all these zillions of drives with data stored on it. And I'm not quite finished moving everything over to the, moving everything around. So, um, I should have a, I should have a, I should have the document here and I'm not seeing it. Why can't I find it? 9. It contains 9. And I feel frustrated now.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to find it for me. All right. Well, I'm going to feel a little lost if I don't have it. Can you wait? Can you want me to put on a pause?
Okay.
I can figure out how.
Hmm. Wait, is it recording still? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I'm trying to pause. Where's the darn thing?
The bottom.
Oh, it ends the meeting. Oh, here it is. Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Brad, for being so patient while we found our file. And so, can I explain how stupid I was? Is that what
No,
No,
no, that's not necessary.
that's unnecessary.
No, you don't need to do that.
Try to find a file and the amount of files I have.
Is simply stunning, children. It's simply stunning. It's wow.
All right,
We're ready to work.
we are. All right, so I'm gonna just monopolize the screen a bit.
Okay.
Can you read this? Can you see it?
Yes, that's quite good.
Focus, Doolittle. Take advantage of your Dr. Brad while he's here.
It's right here.
All right, so again, we finish with whoops, wrong one. The introduction, right? We have the introduction, and this is our rough outline. I believe I went into the front matter, and I believe I updated the front matter somewhere. No, I did not. I only thought about it. Uh, with ooh,
Okay. Okay.
on you. Why you gotta do this to me today? Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so we do that. Then we're back on, so we move from the introduction, which is say, here's what we're going to tell you. And
Yes.
we said the first thing we're going to touch on is embodiment or sensation. And we're trying to uh, communicate these categories, which is that it's homeostasis, that these measurements, that the measurements consist of those senses we can use, how that information is processed,
Yes.
um, how our information is qualitatively marginally indifferent. This is my frustration with the guys who are claiming we live in a simulation.
Yeah, I do find that to be silliness.
Uh, um, it's like, well, if I construct something to deceive your senses, that's different from your senses, absent constructions to deceive them, correctly perceiving the world, right?
Right.
Right. So what you really have is it's like the one that there's a bunch of pink dots, and
Yes.
then there's a I don't know what color it is, yellow dot or something that moves around and replaces each one. And eventually, if you stare at the middle, all you'll see the pink dots will disappear, and
Yes.
all only thing you'll see is the green dot moving around. So, well, of course, you're fooling you're fooling your senses. That doesn't mean we don't correctly interpret the world,
We,
right?
that's magic.
Huh?
Construction to deceive the senses is magic.
Right. I mean,
Tricks.
and so when you say, look, you look at the eyes, you say, look, there's a lot of information right here in the center. That's
Yeah.
what. What's the process? Where your
Phobia.
where your eyes move around really fast.
Oh, yeah, they pop around.
Okay. Anyway, I think you have the um, is because they're trying to because you don't see a thing when it's static as much as you do when it changes, right? Because that's what it's detecting is changes.
Right.
And so this staccato thing, I don't know what it's called. There's a name for it. Um, and I can't remember everything, guys. Uh, um, and so your visual processor is generally getting some information and then predicting it for you, right? And some of those predictions, it's like, well, are you incorrectly experiencing the world? There's no evidence of it. If I can pick up a freaking tennis ball and throw it through a hoop at 30 yards, I mean, whatever what's the distance to a pitcher mound? I don't remember, 90 feet or something. Um,
Yes.
if I can do that, I have a pretty accurate representation of the world.
Yes.
And then you get the quality of like color, and I'm like, that's a stupid statement. Well, how do you expect harmonies to be? If there's just frequencies, right? How do you expect them to look if they compete with each other? They've got to sort into red, blue, and yellow, or red, blue, green. There's no way to perceive them otherwise. So anyway, I
I
just
got your word for you.
well,
It's saccades.
decades. Thank you very much. So let's see. I can remember what it was.
I have to close that circuit so that it's not loose and wanting to be resolved later.
I see. So we're trying to. This is our sort of chapter outline of the point
Yes.
we want to make, right? And so what I thought we would do is say, is we've got this structure here, and we might want to say introduce each section with
That element.
that element.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
It's worthy of repetition.
you know, now these things are things I've got to fill out because they're really well detailed
Yes.
in the other work elsewhere. Um, Here's where we are.
Okay.
This memory is where I feel like we've got the problem of definition versus process. So,
What do
uh,
you mean by that?
well, here's these perceptual faculties, right? But the way I've got this organized, right? This is a process.
Yes.
And I think I might have just answered my question. So I think they all need process. Is that what I'm basically detecting? In other words, these are definitions,
Okay.
but they need to be described as a process.
Okay.
So this is a processing, right? So this describes all of those things we just discussed. That's what it should. And it should
Yes.
end up there. And then intelligence is just the
Processor speed.
processor speed, but it's also processor breadth. Like how many adversarial competitions are going on in your brain competing for your attention. And then I want to get into awareness and consciousness and then summarize it.
Okay.
All right. So,
That's
uh,
brilliant.
sorry.
I think it's brilliant.
So, um, I makes so much more sense now that I'm explaining it to you.
Thank you.
I was kind of out of it a little bit, when I was working on this last, so maybe I was like, well, this seems way harder than it should be. Now it seems like way more sensible than it should be. So we basically want to do something like describe the sections, right?
Right.
Right,
So yeah, that's a way to do it. Well, I would pull that out from that bullet point. Yeah.
right. I don't know if the and belongs there. And then there would be measurements, which is the vast majority of stuff.
Yes.
Now we want to indent this, right?
That's right.
Same thing here. I have no idea what the people are doing upstairs, but it's exasperating.
Sorry, Curt.
They're very weird up there, I think. I had this beautiful little old lady live upstairs, and she was very quiet.
That
And,
was nuts.
and then she sold her house. These
Yes.
people don't realize that whatever you do upstairs, the walls don't transmit information, but the ceilings do.
Mm.
So processing.
That's it.
After processing.
Did you pull that down there?
No, I haven't put it in because it feels like there's one section missing. So here are measurements, right?
Okay. Yes. That's processing here, isn't it?
And I think it might be. No, I thought this is all sensation.
Yes. It seems like that should be above. That's processing right there.
Yeah,
Perceptual
yeah,
faculties. The senses,
yeah. I think you're right. There's a thing going on here. I almost did it again, Brad. I
yeah,
almost hit the go to sleep key.
oh, that was a different category of error than I was anticipating you reporting. I want you to fix that backslash.
I I I didn't put that one in there just to mess with you.
Thank you.
I do
I
enjoy doing
appreciate,
that though. However,
I
I do want to admit that I do enjoy doing that.
I do appreciate the consideration.
So where's measurement? Measurement is at this level, right?
That's where the senses go.
Right. So systems measurements, and then they're okay. That's great. Now the problem is we want to go back to these
But I think you're calling it faculties is not necessary.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
And just put the senses up there.
This is a faculty, but that isn't. That's a sense. You know, you're right once in a while. I got to pay attention to you.
You're all right, Curt.
Love you, man.
Likewise.
Who else would put up with me?
I don't know. You're
You
a
could have,
handful, brother.
you could
You're
have,
a
you
handful.
could have pandered to me there. You could have.
Oh my.
The senses. Why isn't this right in the first place? How did I screw that up?
I don't know. That's good. There's your processing. And now I would change it. Yeah, they're processing faculties, right?
Uh, senses and faculties. That's probably better. Yes, that is right.
But
Video.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, self-reflection, affective. Oh, this is the part is regulate. That's a faculty.
Oh,
Faculty. That's a faculty. Those are faculties.
oh,
This is processes. So what have we got up here? So we have something missing. Synthesis or synthesis.
ah,
We're missing this. Whoops. So we're missing integration. Let's ask our friend here.
that's good. I like that.
Process of context, cognitive science, context, cognitive science, cognitive science, neural processing.
That's quite interesting. That's good.
Yeah, hippocampal, right? That's right. Why is that not
Yeah.
experiential? That's not. Yeah, could be referred to as synthesis, integration, or disambiguation. To
I
using
would say and disambiguation. Nice. It's interesting to me to watch you operate with the AI on this process.
I sort of envision what it's doing in my mind. Like in my mind, I tokenize the words and I figure,
Yes,
and it's just some, I've been doing it for so long that, I mean, I've thought about this problem for so long. Uh,
right.
God, it's a great set of terms here, that I can sort of visualize what it's doing. What amazes me is I can't figure out quite how many layers of attention it's got.
Okay.
I would love to know. I mean, I've got a somewhere up here. I've got a diagram of the architecture, but the resolution on the resolution in the big block of the major associations is
Yeah.
is too imprecise, and the this whole the ability for this thing to hold attention.
Yes.
In other words, and from that attention produce an output is just amazing to me.
So did you ask it?
It doesn't know that stuff. It's kind of funny.
That's kind of funny, isn't it? All right.
You can't ask it too many questions about itself. Like, I don't know, what version are you? Sidebar. What version are you? You can't always get the right answer. It's taking a long time. See, it
Yeah.
doesn't know.
So I like this list. I think it's good for importation. It may be too detailed, but it does a good job of covering that.
Well, this one's important for the rest of our work. I could reorganize this. This is right. They're just in the wrong structure.
Okay.
Like this is important. The fact that it's done in the hippocampus is important.
Yes.
That the I hate this brain groups. Nobody says that. Um,
No, the brain, which the brain groups and organizes sensory information.
oh, I see. Thank you.
No, I found this list to be just incredible, and it looks to me like um it's stacked in a progressive manner that leads to output. It's a sequential list, and it looks like it's in the right order to me.
Okay, maybe I don't know if it's in the right order.
I know.
So what term do we want to use here?
Oh,
Perceptual processing is nice.
synthesis is good.
Synthesis is really good. Yeah, let's do synthesis.
And then you can write the little piece there, and it's like it tells how the information is processed into a workable set by the brain for the creation of output. We're reacting to the environmental changes.
Yeah, I can reorganize this and it'll make me happy.
Good.
So we're going to do synthesis down here somewhere.
You're in the right neighborhood. So you have senses.
Measurement, right? Senses.
And then you have organization.
Organization, right?
That's their synthesis part.
I don't want to get into prediction yet.
Not yet. We're just on it, though. We're on the cusp of it.
Yeah, I don't like this paragraph yet. Hold on. Or do we talk about it before or after? Seems like we want to talk about it before.
I think so.
Yes, it goes here. Okay, so I don't understand why this has to be here. And that is the same thing. I don't think I'm going to get rid
So
of it.
you could yeah, yeah.
Just duplicate. Okay, so I'm going to take you. I'm going to categorize you up there because I don't know what the difference is. This is a subset. This is really what that does. What's the difference between those two?
Which two? Oh, those two. Okay.
There's two basic functions here, and this is poorly articulated
Okay.
because that's where the sixth sense is. And this is how we enter a spatial environment. This is the important. So
Yeah.
this is our sixth sense right there. Right. And then and this is episode.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. Boom. That's not right. So this goes. I don't understand why this isn't a duplicate.
Duplicating those two.
You have information processing here and sensory integration here. Now this one I can understand because it covers the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like the general category.
Right, but then I'm like, the various stages of processing sensory. High level integration is great. Sensory integration. What's the
It's the
difference?
same thing. Yeah, yeah. It looks like information processing contains all the remaining.
Exactly. You know, you're good. You get paid for this.
Yeah, I do. I get paid exactly what I'm worth.
I love you. It's a bullshit. Oh, I see.
What?
And then this one is,
Would like it be bullet points instead of numbers?
we're just so good. Oh, I like this. I just did the same thing over again. Sensory integration. This is my favorite part. I don't know if that's true. I just really find that fascinating.
It's all just impressive functions. And what I like is a disambiguation of what we all know to be true, how it works. Ah, that's nice.
So this is oh, yes, I can answer it here. This is indexing.
Hmm, I like it.
What's using?
It's operations.
Yep. Want this to be under this, right? We want this to be under this.
Synthesis. Okay.
Consolidation using faculties. I can keep it at that indent level.
Okay.
This is sort of the summary, right? So this is where we go back to where is it? Where's the outline? Processing, commensurability, and synthesis.
Okay.
We can move that in. Yes. So I'm trying to move that in yet. This is supposed to be tolerable title. There is a summary. No, that goes down here. Summaries down here. Okay, so this is the same argument.
What's that?
This is all the same thing.
Yes. There you go.
And we want to move some of this in, I think.
Say that again.
Well, we want to move. Got an indent issue here. Is it understandable? Why is that there? This is going to have title.
Did not understand you. Oh.
I don't know what this is. And then we want to have right.
Okay.
That summary is first qualia. Didn't we answer that already?
Whoa, whoa.
There it is. Okay, we got that. Wait a minute, do we duplicate this? Consciousness, awareness, mindfulness. Didn't we already do this?
Which,
Or it looks like we're duplicating here. So we have awareness, consciousness, mindfulness. That would seem to come after.
it seems like it's in the right place to me.
This looks like it's in the wrong place.
Oh, yes. That's good.
All right. I don't think there's anything.
Okay. You're, yeah, definitely repetitive now.
Well, I just brought it down there to see if I was missing anything.
Okay.
I'm not that dumb.
I
I
didn't
mean,
think so.
not regularly anyway.
Right. And certainly not when the recorder's on. Lord help us.
Well, reasoning produces mindfulness. All right, so now we got that done.
Okay.
All right, there's a thing called there's experience, I think. I think that's what's missing. I think it's experience. Got to explain these damn terms.
Yes.
Oh, where would it go?
What?
Identity, self. It's after
It's
conscious.
awareness.
Is it? No, one time. Yeah, tell.
That's what it looks like.
Yes.
I mean, that's nice. That's an interesting breakdown, right?
Right. So it's the
Hit.
uh,
Go ahead.
well, so consciousness is a spectrum. Identity mirrors that spectrum. Identity, self, mirrors that spectrum. So
Okay.
this is, I don't know how to write it all yet, but that's the right way of looking at it.
Yep.
This is really a spectrum.
That's right.
And then identity, awareness, identity, experience of self. I can explain that. I mean, I know how to explain it. It's like, can words ever do it justice? It's funny, it's like, I can explain it. It's like this thing I said yesterday. It's the same thing about religion and philosophy and whatever. Um, is it, we talked about this earlier in the previous chat, right? We talked about how there's the Anglo method, which separates the experiential from the testifiable, right?
Yes.
And then um, uh, the German method, which tries to reconflate the experiential, we call it phenomenalism, but the experiential and the existential, perhaps to not only conflate them or possibly reverse them. And the French method that converts everything to a social function, not an internal, a personal function. So
Okay.
it's more everything is in the context of the social function, very feminine. Um, and well, I suppose I should write that sequence down somewhere because that makes sense. And then the Jewish metaphysics, which is the isolating and versus others function. But each of these things is trying to put the basic anchor in place or conceptual frame, metaphysical framework for how you think about the world. But when you try to explain these things, it's like, well, if I explain the operational model of the brain, I'm pretty sure it's more, it's, nobody will say it's wrong. They'll say, well, we could add precision, right? But it's not going to be the way I describe it. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's the same as experiencing it, right? You have to be able to get from, now you have to be able to, what's the feeling of, what's the feeling of, what's the feeling of, or what's the experience
Okay.
of?
Right.
Connect those two things. Well, the whole point is the same thing with empiricism versus subjectivism, is you're trying to say, okay, I perceive the world this way, but what's actually going on? Because what I perceive is how I feel about it and how I value it. But what's actually going on is how I alter it. Right? I mean, that's how I alter it. Now you could say I want to alter the material world in the Anglo model and the Germanic world, or you could say it in the Jewish and feminine Jewish and French model, which is I want to alter either my perception of the world or the social world. But this is social
Right.
constructionism of it,
Social construction. Right.
which is so it's a big difference in what you're trying to alter. In other words, there's still
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's utility in whatever metaphysics you're addressing. So I mean, it's like so what can words ever do the justice? Well, I mean, it's like the thing of trying to explain people qualia. Well, I mean, I can tell you why it is, but I mean, you can't. The experience of the canonical color thing is color, right? The experience of red is what the experience of red is.
That's it. It's self-referential.
There's no other way to describe it. So we can describe what red, why you feel that experience of red, but that objective and subjective, they're still far enough apart that meaning, that association has to be one that you either learn or adopt or accept. I don't know how to deal with how to actually frame it.
Okay. There's a question there that I don't quite know what it is.
Well, the question is, uh, it's very hard. It's very hard to talk about these things when you would take a novel, right? I mean, or like it's say a fictional world like Dune or The Lord of the Rings, or what's the big one that was on television a couple years ago? I don't know, the medieval one that was on TV, Dragons or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, um, and so you take these fantasy worlds, and it's like, okay, well, I can bridge between that narrative structure because there's so many concepts. It's the same thing with theology. There's a long history of theological concepts, right? And so you can talk about things in that frame pretty easily.
Yes.
In philosophy, you can talk about it in a couple of frames.
Okay.
And when you get into operationalism, you can talk about it in that frame, but that frame is less experiential information than philosophy does, which has less experiential information than theology does, which has less
Okay.
experience in which mythology does. So, so you just the information is there to for people to say yes, that's true because I perceive it to be true from the information I already possess.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
I know, but it's like so the question still remains. What's the question?
The question is, can we make this information explained such that we overcome some part of that hurdle, if not all of it? So when I talk about consciousness, people who know what they're talking about, they say, shit, that's the best explanation of it I've ever heard. Right.
Okay.
But that if you're in the camp of consciousness is mystical, no one understands, it's the hard problem. It's not a fucking hard problem. It's an artifact. If you say, well, it's like, okay, it's like a symphony or sound or music, right? I
Yeah.
mean, these things have they're experiential for a couple of reasons, and we perceive them as music for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Just like we preserve language as a couple of reasons because it invokes so many associations for us.
Okay.
Well, if you don't have enough associations, it's pretty hard to envision what consciousness is. And so what you tend to use is whatever is available to you. And so
Right.
people, this hard problem nonsense. It's not a hard problem, it's just a memory effect, which I'm not
Seems
going. Go ahead.
it seems those people they get paid to solve the hard problem that they generate.
Yes.
So
Um,
they're not worth talking to.
you have to go.
They're
I shared what's her name's video from either this morning or yesterday about her career, her life in academia, and how it killed her dreams,
I understand.
and how why it produces shit output. It's brutal.
I want to watch it.
It's I put it in the feed, the Twitter feed. It's
Okay.
absolutely, because she's a real person, right? She's like, look, I'm not. My parents were middle class, working class, middle class people. I just did really well in school, and I got these things, whatever. And and this is what I found out when I got in the academy, and my illusions were trashed. And, it's why papers are shit and why most science isn't. And it's just a money machine. And so it's a bunch of money machine malincentives. And so you can't do any research that isn't justifiable because it's within the present uh, set of presumptions.
The
And so
current thing.
it's just fucking insane. So if you invest all that money in becoming an academic, right, and you're not going to walk away from it, you're going to write papers for money, even if those papers are bullshit. Just fucking exasperating. And I mean, I know when I was in school, I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this. The thing that bothered me was you recognize they become a slave, a serf
Yes.
for the academic above you, and you have to work on that person's stupid freaking idea. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. If I want to work on my ideas, I'd have to find somebody whose idea wasn't shit to work on, right? Even then, what am I learning? I'm sacrificing. Here's what you really get out of a PhD program: you get the capacity to do research,
Yes.
right? That's what they're teaching you.
Yes.
I'm not really sure that they're teaching how to do good research or meaningful,
Right.
but they're teaching how to do research well and write papers and books about it. And I think that's a skill. The problem is it'd be much better if they were doing research on things that actually made a difference.
That's right. That's right.
It's a different version of what's his name, Eric Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Yeah, Weinstein. He makes a credit. He's whining all the time. I mean, I'm not
Oh,
really criticize him. I mean, I whine too, but I mean, he's whining all the time because he felt rejected by Harvard, right? Because and the reason is obvious: is his stuff was too far outside the mainstream, and he couldn't take it far enough, right? So in other words, he alone wasn't able to take it far enough. Which is, if you understand it, it's easy to imagine why he couldn't take it far enough. Well, so he's all
right.
pissed off, and I'm like, well, he's not wrong. You should finance a guy like that because you know how many people we finance that write useless freaking papers about nonsense that should never get. I mean, those papers are shit. It's actually a miracle when you find one that's not shit. I mean, it's just amazing to me. And then you go to God, go into the philosophy of talk about clown world, and let's
Curt.
get started on social science.
Curt.
But
I fear we divert.
oh, okay. Well, we're out of time, so that's where
Oh, is that it?
I was trying to wrap up and I got sidetracked.
That's okay too. And it's like I can work some more if you want.
Well, I got a 2:30 with the
Oh,
guys
okay.
on the
It's
convention,
good. You need some lunch then.
and I need some lunch.
So you're timing out.
I've actually got juice. I could keep going, but
I know you're busy. You're a busy, busy
I
man.
got well, I'm not really. I mean, today I'm busy. All
Did
right.
you do good?
We did good work today. We got through the open questions I had. We made progress. I'm thinking I hope it's like
It looks like we're approaching the end of this subject matter
we
quickly.
just have to write the narrative around it and we're good. I think we're pretty good. And then we've already got most of this is done already. I'm just gonna move it over.
Right?
Right. And
Okay.
the physics is, I mean, we got a lot of stuff in the physics, right?
Okay.
Where are we? Right. So we got a lot of stuff there. And then in behavior, right? We've got so much
Yes.
in behavior because, right? And then of course the formal is mostly done. Uh, and then and I mean, we're doing the stuff that's hard right now. So,
Okay.
all right.
Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to sit with you today.
Well, thank you for all the work you put in. I mean, I can't ever thank you enough. It's so productive to have your
Good.
work with you. All right. Love you, brother. You have a great day. Do your thing.
Wow. Well, now is your opportunity to hit like and subscribe and then the notification bell. And then you can tell Curt how wonderful he did today.
we did today.
All right. And I will be off tomorrow,
That's right.
just so you're aware. And then we'll plot for later in the week.
Yeah. All right. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of what fictitious nonsense could I make up that would explain your absence tomorrow, but I couldn't think of anything quick enough. Couldn't switch gears. All right.
All right. Well, have a good day.
Talk to you later, man.
Bye bye.